Hello, all, and welcome to another morning at The Damage Report. I wanted to briefly respond to this story because I've seen it going around, particularly on social media this morning, but I didn't want to waste any time in the actual show talking about it. So, if you are as yet unfamiliar with Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, what you need to know is that they've been around for a number of years, and what they do is they film some rando or they edit together video to try to make someone look bad, and in general end up making themselves look like clowns, wearing pimp costumes and stuff like that. So look, they've got this new thing, and you probably saw some tweets going around with this hashtag expose 2020, and like these big statements and tweets from like James O'Keefe saying that Bernie Sanders, his free education policies are effectively Stalinistic. That's what they are. So that's apparently a big revelation from Bernie Sanders, that that's what the intent of his policy is. Others are saying that they have got a leader in his campaign saying all this awful stuff. And as always, with their work, despite the fact that they get all this money from right-wingers, they have all these people working for them, what do they have? They got some random person that supposedly works as a volunteer for Bernie Sanders who got drunk and said something crazy. That's literally the extent of it. So there's this video out. You can watch it. It's an 8-minute long video. And they talk to this guy. Let's see. His name is Kyle Jurek. And from what we can see, he's a drunk guy in a bar. That's the only thing that's definitively proven. But they're saying he's some sort of leader. Like, they'll say he's his campaign manager at some point. And so he got drunk and he said some stuff that's just, I don't even know how you can have a problem with it. So he says that at some point we're going to need to, as a country, teach people to not be fucking Nazis, which I don't know exactly how you disagree with that. Nazism is more popular in this country than it's been in like 70 years. That seems objectively like a bad thing. And, you know, especially considering how often the right wing tries to imply that the Nazis were actually progressives, wouldn't they too think that people being Nazis these days would be a bad thing? But no, they've somehow managed to say that being against Nazis is one of the crazy things that this guy said. But the guy did say some actually crazy things. His idea of what gulags were like under Stalin seems pretty ahistorical. He talked about how you get conjugal visits and you were paid a living wage. He seems to not really understand what the purpose of gulags were. But then he goes on to say this quote, "The greatest way to break a fucking billionaire of their privilege and their idea that they're superior, go and break rocks for 12 hours a day. You're now a working class person and you're going to fucking learn what that means, right?" So look, obviously, if this person who, again, I'll remind you, has absolutely no power in the Bernie Sanders campaign, thinks that millionaires or billionaires should be like conscripted or like locked up and forced to do this, and obviously nobody agrees with that. But the idea that we wouldn't be better off in some way if some of these millionaires and billionaires, especially those who were given their wealth, like Trump, had ever had to actually earn a living, that of course would be a better thing. Who actually disagrees with that? Now understand that this guy is being filmed without his consent and is drunk off his ass while he's doing it. So you gotta take all of what you're hearing here with that added caveat. Now, I would say the craziest thing that they have this random drunk person saying is this. So he says, be ready to be in Milwaukee for the DNC convention. We're going to make 1968 look like a fucking Girl Scout fucking cookout. The cops are going to be the ones fucking beaten in Milwaukee. And he's saying basically that if Bernie Sanders doesn't get the nomination in Milwaukee, whereas the Democratic National Convention is going to be, then they're going to burn it down or whatever. So here's the thing. That's obviously, I disagree with that. Bernie Sanders disagrees with that. Here's the thing. They seem to think that they can simply say, oh, I have someone who supposedly likes Bernie Sanders and they believe a terrible thing, thus Bernie Sanders is bad. I got news for you. It ain't new that there are people that hypothetically agree with Bernie Sanders on certain things, but don't fundamentally understand him or agree with him on all things. That has always been the case. I mean, hell, you could see that exact sort of sentiment back in the 2016 election. There were people back then saying that if Bernie Sanders isn't the nominee, they're not going to support anyone. They're just going to sit out the election. Bernie Sanders didn't agree with that in 2016. Why are they thinking that they can imply that for some reason Bernie Sanders holds that stance in 2020? He has always been vigorously against that. And they, of course, are not saying it. It's all implication. And so while I hate the term smear, this is effectively one way that you smear people, is that it's supposed to be guilt by association. We're implying that he supports things that he's on the record as not supporting. I got news for you. every politician has some crazy supporters, even some crazy supporters who might volunteer for that campaign. And if you get them drunk enough and you shove a camera in their face, they can say some crazy things. Doesn't mean anything about the campaign or about the candidate. And again, this is their big expose. They created a hashtag for this. They're very, very proud of themselves because they found some random person that we might find out was never involved in the campaign for all we know. Anyway, so that's the big thing. But I do believe that it is part of something larger. Now, before I turn to that, if you haven't already hit the like button, you should know what I'm about to say. You should hit the like button. It'd be great. Have you tried it? You might like it. Maybe you do the first one. Maybe it's something that you've become a fan of. Becomes a habit, sort of. So anyway, hit the like button if you can. Now, Project Veritas going after Bernie Sanders, you can't take that as its own thing. It exists in a context where Donald Trump and his campaign have aggressively pivoted to attacking Bernie Sanders over the past week or so. Trump has always been very hesitant to tweet about Bernie Sanders. For the past 3 years, virtually the only way he would ever do that is to try to create a rift between people who support Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party, those sorts of things. He tries to pretend that he's on the side of Bernie Sanders supporters to make sure that Bernie Sanders supporters never get what they want politically. And I absolutely hate when people buy that. But anyway, he often doesn't like to talk about it because he knows that Bernie Sanders has a big online following. He doesn't want to get attacked by those people. And he's being very hesitant to talk about Bernie Sanders online. But in his rallies, he's bringing him up. He did that at one of his recent campaign rallies in Toledo, attacking Bernie Sanders. In talking about the Democrats who supposedly are like mourning the life of Qasem Soleimani, he particularly singled out Bernie Sanders to pretend that that's what Bernie believes. So that's crazy, but it does show that he's testing out lines at his rallies to attack Bernie Sanders. Also, the I forget what the guy's name is. I think Brian or whatever. The digital head of Trump's campaign. He's been tweeting more about Bernie Sanders. Now, what's amazing is 5 days ago he said, "It's crazy to say that we're particularly targeting Sanders now. Why would we ever be worried about him?" And then news broke the next day that internally they'd been having conversations about how the campaign needed to come out harder against Bernie Sanders because of the strength that he was showing in polling recently. It's all so fake. But anyway, in terms of the strength, what I'm referring to is, look, not only is he doing better in national polls, he's doing very well in the early states, but his California numbers are just getting better and better. And again, California has the most delegates. So if you're going to jump up in one state, there's no better state to do it in. So it makes sense that Donald Trump would start to get more worried. He obviously, I never understood why he was so worried about Joe Biden, but he clearly was earlier last year. But as the polls have moved more and more towards Bernie Sanders, at least in the early states, he has to sort of hedge his bets when it comes to who he might be running against. So anyway, you're seeing a lot of that too. Okay, obviously I am still very sick, so I apologize for that. I am working on it, trying to get healthy, and my voice tomorrow is probably going to be even worse because not only are we doing this show and then the main show, but we also have the debate later tonight, so we're going to be doing analysis of that. Okay, so what's going on in the comments? What do you all think about the news cycle today? He's destroyed by it as I am. Oh, you're sick on your birthday. That sucks. Yeah, it is. Warren trying to become Biden's VP. No, I don't think so. I don't think that there's any chance that Biden would pick Warren. Not no chance. I just think it's a very low chance. What time is the debate? I'm not sure. I think it might be starting around 5. 6, you think? So, look, our coverage is probably going to then be around 8 or 9 at that point. Because, of course, we can't do live commentary. It's not legal. What happened with the Burisma hack? I honestly haven't looked into that story yet. But I will later today. You should stream the Young Turks on Twitch. I'm sure it's something that they've thought about. I don't know. We're already available on so many different platforms, though. I have, of course, previously streamed on Twitch, but it's been a while. 9 Eastern. Okay, so then it would start at 6. I'm assuming it'll be a 2 or 3 hour debate. So expect that around 8 or 9 our coverage will start. Okay. Warren Sanders 2020. Well, it seems less likely today. Not impossible. And so, look, I'm going to have Emma Vigland on. We're going to be talking about that story, obviously, more today. There's been some developments on it. The thing is, as bad as it is, and we'll see. It'll really, at the debate is when we'll know how bad it is. I mean, still, like, it's the thing that you're not supposed to acknowledge, that if one of them is the candidate, the other is going to campaign for them. Like, it doesn't matter how brutally that they might attack each other. And I would say that this still, so far, has not been particularly brutal compared to past elections. But even if it gets more brutal, they're still going to support each other. That's just the way it is. I agree that it's disappointing, and I do think that she should address it. It doesn't sound like from her statement that she will, the statement she put out yesterday. Even more positive, Nina Turner would be Bernie's VP pick now. I mean, I always say I think that has been one of the higher likelihoods. Sanders Picard 2020. Well, no, but he can't serve as VP if he's filming season 2, you know. But I am excited for that too. Thank you, Squirrely. Okay, Ro Khanna is going to be on today. We're going to be talking about Iran, how to ward off a war. That's going to be happening in just a little bit, like 25 minutes, basically. Thank you, Carol. Okay, everybody, I should run. Like I said, Ro Khanna's going to be on, Emma's going to be on. I'm going to go rest my voice before the show, but thank you so much for joining me for the live video, and I will see you soon.